Well, today's the first nice day after, the winter storm blew through. Kind of just a generic storm this year. I know a lot of people got a lot of cold, but it was a couple of days of very cold and some rain. No snow. There we go. Looky, everybody. I'm getting this all formed up. And then wherever there's gaps, like I see gaps underneath the bridge there, I'm going to fill it back in with cedar and or the pumice stone. And I have spray foam for any little seams that I might see in the corners of things. And I'm hoping that I can get this poured tomorrow. Let me finish up doing all of the ends.
So for those of you who are just joining in, and that's most of my viewers, but what I'm trying to do here is everything I build is to last 1,000 years. I'm so tired of the modern idea of disposable homes. So I'm trying to build something to last 1,000 years. This particular bridge, it's an Archimedes bridge, Da Vinci bridge, made of cedar, and it is an analog of what my roof will be between two shipping container homes. So I'm building an off-grid shipping container house. This particular flashing that I redeemed it from a junkyard, and so I don't know what it was, but what I'm going to use it for is for concrete forms to make a concrete beam, and I'm going to wrap this Da Vinci bridge in concrete. That's how I believe that I can make this thing last a long time. Maybe not 1,000 years, but maybe with upkeep, somebody can keep it and last 1,000 years. So 3 out of 4 of these went in really easy, and what you're seeing is the most difficult end. Once these, sheet metal's super sharp, so once they started grabbing and getting into the logs and splintering things, it was a very physical effort, this one was, but the other ones all went in super well. Once I get it in, then I have to make sure that it doesn't rise up, it doesn't fall off. When I pour the concrete, I've got to make triple sure that the concrete stays. So the bottom part will be the I-beams on both ends, and the top part will be an arch. And the way I'm making the arch is I'm going to use that rebar that's down on the ground to create the arch form. So, but this particular I-beam, I attach it then to the rails on the bottom for some rigidity. And then when I fill it, I'll use 5-gallon buckets to fill it in. So there I've made my arch. I've already pre-cut my piece of cedar. I'm going to go ahead and use those as forms. I trace it all out, and then I jigsaw them. Now, between the two sides, I actually had pulled a level earlier, and it was level-ish, so I could screech it within, a quarter of a bubble or half a bubble. Not bad off. And the bridge itself is not exactly straight across either. I built it so it has a little curve to it because I'm going to be using a reciprocal ceiling, and that's how I'm going to do all of that. So now I got done with one side. This next side goes so much easier for me. It's weird that life is that way, but I'm real pleased with this design. It is built to about 1/2, 1/3 scale of what the roof will be. The roof timbers will be, 12, 18-inch timbers with coyote fence in between. Where here I built it with 3 and 4-inch logs. So getting the design here is really, really critical. In addition to this design, I'll be using styrofoam concrete or perlite concrete. So I'm going to put some test panels in the concrete. And you'll see how I'll do that later when I pour. Probably the next video will be me pouring, hopefully, knock on wood, unless some rain comes in or another cold snap. I can't pour when things are freezing. It decreases the strength of the concrete markedly. So I'm waiting for nice days where I don't have cold overnight. This one went in super easy, but you can see I mount the flashing to all of the support structures, and I get this thing completely in a real nice arch using rebar.
All right, here we go. I'm hoping by tomorrow I can pour mud. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? Let's put some screws in there. Yeah. Come on. I'm gonna need to order more pumice stone. That doesn't look too bad, does it? That's reasonably an arch. And then the tin, those will be metal concrete beams, I'm gonna guess. And then when the posts rot out, the whole thing will just stay there anyway. So then I won't even need the Da Vinci wooden substructure. So maybe this will last 1,000 years. You know, I started out thinking that the post would last over a swamp, over the pond rather, you know, 20 years max in a wet environment, max. But now that I know that once they do rot out, I could just replace them with cast iron or something. Somebody could. And then the concrete arch will be all poured in one. The styrofoam that I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a styrofoam cooler in the middle of both sides, and I'm going to do different mixes like 2-to-1, 4-to-1, different mixes, and then screech over that and then backfill. So the bridge itself will have holes in it where the test material will be. So eventually, if those all fall apart, I was thinking if I do them real well, somebody could put in bricks, which would look great, right? Bricks, which would look great. All right, let me keep working, get the ends done there. I've got a party to get to this afternoon, so I'm hurrying. Well, I'm going to spread the pumice stone over the top of that. I still have work to do there, and I want to fill this in so it's not such a big piece of concrete to pour.
So the purpose of the pumice stone is to even out the odd parts. If I just poured concrete over the coyote fence, obviously the gravel would stay behind and the slurry would go out, and I'd end up with this really bad mixture of concrete. So the pumice stone is filling in the gaps, but it's also leveling the concrete or the environment, because these logs are non-dimensional, right? Some of them are big, some of them are twisted, some of them have knots, some of them don't. So the pumice stone is there to provide a bed for the concrete to rest on, so it'll be level. So I'll have 2 inches or 3 inches of concrete poured evenly across the bridge. I don't want one end of the bridge to be so heavy that it lists or it sinks into the earth, or just simply the stress itself breaks the concrete. Concrete's a bit like porcelain. You have to treat it carefully and distribute the stresses in it properly. That's why you don't throw big stones in your concrete as you're working. You keep it nice and level. So anyway, I used rocks to bridge the gaps, and then I used this pumice stone to level it all out, and I'll end up screeching that and making sure it's all the same dimension.
Well, there you have it. I think it's a good stopping point for me. I've got the bridge, the arch in, the supports in. I haven't put on waders yet and gone under the water and put any screws in through it with some boards to keep it straight. Got the pumice stone in. That will even out the concrete, so once the boards rot out, the concrete will be uniform on both sides, so it won't sink down on one side. It'll weigh the same on both sides. I've got the room on the sides here, you see, for the I-beams. That'll work pretty good down in there. I'll get the whatever pumice stone fell in there. I'll screech everything, measure down to the pumice stone, make sure I have 2 inches or so across. So I know this took 10 bags, I counted them. And so I know I'm going to need 10 bags of pumice for that side, as well as, I'm going to guess, 24 bags of 60-pound concrete. And so I've got 5 of them here, so I'm going to get a few extra. Man, it would suck to get halfway done and run out of concrete. Maybe I'll just get 30. I can always take them back or always use them later. All right, I feel pretty good about that. All right, this is a Da Vinci bridge, or an Archimedes bridge. They're called the same things. It's also an Asiatic style bridge built with gravity as what holds everything together, but also using pegs, or in this case screws. So I built that and hung that over that water. Then the floods came in and backfilled it, so it's making it a little tricky for me to finish it up. But I've got the flashing in for the I-beams. I'll go around, put a board across both sides there, probably just a 2x4, right, to hold everything tight. Go all the way over to the flashing there, hold that all tight, and man, I think I'm ready. I think I can get all the concrete that I need tonight. Maybe I'm pretty excited, actually. I've got plenty of scrap boards for me to put a little more bracing in there. Then I need to get my waders on, go underneath, and brace everything up. Then I have spray foam to spray foam the cracks so concrete just doesn't ooze out and ooze out and ooze out and make a hole. So so there'll be a spray foam all of the gaps. And over there I have some mesh, stainless steel mesh. Well, I wanted it to be stainless steel. That ended up being galvanized. I couldn't find the stainless steel. I'll run mesh over the top of everything and pour concrete. The concrete will ooze down through the mesh, tie it all together. And this bridge, I believe, will be a 1,000-year bridge. I'm super excited. The next time you see me, I'll be pouring.